Hi everyone, and thanks for coming and watching my video blog of the J-Spot. And the reason that I wanted to, today I'm going to talk about disabilities, and the reason that I wanted to talk about it is because I have one. It's something that is really important to me, and I think a lot of times disabilities are misunderstood, and that people go around hurting other people's feelings often, people that have disabilities, but I don't think that people mean to do it on purpose. And this happened to me yesterday. I got really sad and started to cry, and then I was like, you know what, I could make a difference by sharing my story with you so that maybe in the future, maybe you won't hurt someone else's feelings, or maybe you just get a better understanding of how, you know, not everybody that has a disability, it's a visible thing. I think that a lot of times when we think disability, we think, oh, well, I can see their disability, but you can't see mine. My disability is that I have brain damage to my frontal lobes. It causes short-term memory problems. And when I was living in New Jersey, I got sick. I had a disease called encephalitis. It's the swelling of the brain. When you get encephalitis, most people have never heard of it. It's the next worst case beyond meningitis, which is more popular. Not that you want to be popular when you're a disease, but if my fist is the brain, then the casing of the brain is the meninges, and the meningitis is the swelling of the casing of the brain, the meninges. Encephalitis is the whole thing. And that's what I had. So I was living in New Jersey, and I started losing all my short-term memory, and I started telling crazy stories. And it wasn't until I was probably sick for about a month before the doctors figured it out. My family talked to my friends, who talked to my coworkers and stuff. And it was then that they all realized that there was definitely something wrong, and they brought me to the emergency room. And at that point, they told my parents that they thought that the first 48 hours would be kind of touch and go. After doing more research about it, after I got out of the hospital, and even yesterday I was looking up just to see how much the statistics have changed, about 50% of people that get encephalitis end up passing away from it. So I'm blessed. Yay! But I ended up, so I was in the hospital for about a week. And I started to get better, and then on Christmas Day, I was admitted on the 18th. On Christmas Day, I also have blood clotting disorders, and I ended up with a pulmonary embolism. I had a blood clot in my leg. It went actually into both of my lungs, and then my lungs stopped working. And then at that point, they told my parents again that they thought that I might end up passing away. And then another thing that had come up was that if I didn't pass away, that more than likely I would end up being paralyzed and having to relearn things over again. So that was the 25th. On the 29th of December, I got out of the hospital. I call that my rebirth day. I treat it like a real birthday, and I usually do something fun and with my friends and whatnot. So how it's affected my life, one of the ways that my friends and family and coworkers figured everything out was that I was telling these crazy stories. And in my head, I thought I was telling the truth. But in reality, I really wasn't. And so having this disability and having short-term memory, the frontal lobe is the part of the brain that is the filter. So when you think something in your head but you know that it's inappropriate to say, I don't have that really. So if you've ever watched any of the J-Spot videos and you're like, wow, that girl's a little off, or she's a little out of the box, you know, that's me. But so I don't really have that filter. And then the other thing is that it causes it's what holds your short-term memory. So examples of how, I'll just give actually what came up yesterday with my friend. When I asked him if he had played on a certain basketball team, and I couldn't remember if two of my friends played on the same team or not, and they did, and he had got upset, and it's like little things like that where it's not like I'm doing it on purpose. If I could remember everything that you could remember, I would be so happy. And what's hard for me is that I've gotten everything from, oh, you were just too drunk, you just don't remember stuff, to you don't think I'm important. And really it has nothing to do with that, because there are other times in my life that it totally affects me that are so important. Like once I lost my car, I lose my car everywhere, but once I parked it someplace at an airport and I couldn't remember. And I went around like panicking, like pushing that panicky button on your remote, you know, over and over again trying to find it. So it's like little stuff like that. Or I have to be really careful that I take my medicines every day at the same time so that I make sure that I don't over-medicate myself, or that I write notes. And sometimes I feel horrible because, you know, one of my friends recently, he was sharing his story about how one of his parents had passed away, and my dad has, since I have gotten sick, my dad has passed away. And I know that's a very sensitive topic, something that if it's one of your good friends, you want to remember that, you know, and it doesn't have anything to do with you. And it's not that I'm saying that you don't matter because I don't remember. And it's not that I'm saying that I'm crazy. I'm a little different, no joke. But at the same time, you matter, you know, and your stories matter. And I wouldn't want someone to stop sharing with me just because they know that maybe later on along the line I'll ask again. One of the fun things about having short-term memory problems is that one of my friends said it best the other day. He said, every time you see something or experience something, it's like you're opening up a present. And a lot of my life is like my life is a present. Every day that I wake up is a good day, even on the worst days, because I know I'm here for a reason. I know that God has a big plan for me. I'm not exactly sure what that plan is yet, but it's little things like this that I know that make a big difference. So I just wanted to share that with you. If ever I have a conversation with you and I forget your name, I might not remember your name, but I'll remember your birthday and maybe your sign and like little things like that. Like stories sometimes I'm really good at, but I won't remember your name for the life of me. I want to share because I think it's important that, you know, everyday people have learning disabilities. And just because you can't see them doesn't mean that they don't have them, or that you should put people down for that. Or, you know, I never had attention deficit disorder until after I got sick. So that was a new thing for me, because being able to focus, and then all of a sudden, I mean, now I think it's kind of cool because I can do lots of things at once. But for other people, you know, people are like, what is wrong with you? And why do you know, it's always, and it's taken me a long time I must be told, like, why are you so weird, or why are you so different, or what, you know, why aren't you paying attention to that movie? But I'm like, you know, texting and on the computer or whatever, you know, all at once. Long story short, if you get nothing else out of this video, I just want you to kind of remember that everybody has something. Everybody has a story. And unless we ask people, well, why do you do this? Or why is it that, you know, you do 100 different things at once? Or why don't you ever remember? It's not really our place to assume those things. And you could actually end up really hurting somebody's feelings. And especially if somebody tells you that they have a learning disability, like in this case yesterday with my friend in the basketball story that I was sharing, you know, that was really hard for me, because when you share something with someone and you know that you've shared this like delicate piece of information, like having brain damage and having been sick and having almost passed away, and then that person takes it upon themselves to still kind of make fun of you, it hurts, you know, and I don't think people really get that, how much of an impact we have on other people. It's way easier to say to somebody, you know what, like, I love you and I hope you're having a great day, or Jay, like, I can't believe you forgot again. That kind of thing, you know? Or, I know we had this conversation, but I don't mind telling you 100 more times. You know? And those are the people that, I'm not saying this person is a bad person, but, you know, I always have to share things like that with people in the beginning, usually when I become friends with somebody, because I don't want them to take it personally that I will forget things. Anyway. Thank you for listening, and I love you, and I love all my other friends that have learning disabilities too. We're like a little group, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and every day you wake up is a good day, and I hope you remember that you're here for a reason too, and maybe it's just to share your story. Maybe it's for something else. All right, loves. Have a great day. Thank you for listening.